Well, I guess I'm plagued. I come across too vague. I'm not seen. I had been to Comic Con 3 times. As I hadn't enjoyed it any of those 3 times, I had to conclude that Comic Con wasn't for me. A friend of mine told me about Megacon and suggested that might be more the sort of thing that we would both enjoy. I booked a ticket and decided I should work on the costume I was going to wear. I didn't have time to sort my costume out until the day before. I also had to go and buy some boots to be part of my costume, and I knew I needed enough time to go around and look while the shops were open. I was looking around different places for a long time with no luck. Eventually, I saw this shop that it appeared may have what I was looking for. They did have boots that were the type I was after, but they were really expensive and I didn't think I could justify spending this amount of money on these boots. Some more affordable boots didn't go up as high, and I was trying to decide if I really thought they looked that good. I bought them. When I was home, it seemed I had hardly any time to sort out the rest of my costume. I ended up being unsure how good my costume would actually look. On the day of Megacon, my friend hadn't told me what time she was getting there yet. As it was going to be quite a small event and it wouldn't take that long to look around, I thought she might get there in the afternoon rather than rushing to be there in the morning. It turned out my friend got there at 9 in the morning, so I felt I had to get there earlier rather than later, especially as when she messaged me, she told me she had already looked at everything at the event. When we were at the event together, I put the rest of my costume on. It felt a bit awkward and I felt a bit bad that my friend was waiting for me to put my costume together. When being dressed as Thor when doing cosplay before, I tended to have a sleeveless top to show my arms, because I'm glad that I have been able to work out enough to be confident about showing my arms. The weather was actually too cold to go about in a sleeveless top, so I wore the sleeveless top over my long sleeve top. Someone went up to me and my friend and asked if she and the people she was with could be in a photo of us. I was glad, as no one had ever asked me to be in a photo with them at these sorts of events. Me and my friend looked around, and I was glad that the event was a lot smaller than Comic Con. I had always felt overwhelmed at Comic Con with how much stuff there was to look at and how many people there were. After looking around with me, my friend went home. I looked around by myself and I actually really enjoyed looking around. I was about to leave and then saw some people were doing sword fighting. I had thought that doing an activity like sword fighting with people would be a good way to bond with people and meet people. I was glad I managed to sign up to the sword fighting workshop. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to make friends, bond with people or build relationships. Someone dressed up as the Game of Thrones character Jon Snow said he thought my costume was really good and that he could tell I was dressed up as Thor. I was really glad about this, as I didn't think my costume looked any good. I saw some people were playing dodgems, or bumper cars as some people call them. I later did regret not joining in, as it would have been good to have met some of the people there and maybe would have been a good way of bonding, building relationships, and we might have even stayed in touch. I was glad that I had found a version of these cosplay events that I enjoyed and that wasn't overwhelming for me. In the